So my name is Joe Curry. I'm the producer at IDOS Montreal for Tomb Raider's multiplayer offering. What you guys are playing now is called Rescue Mode. The character that you're seeing is your enemy. What he's trying to do actually is bring medpacks back to his zone so that he can, for the team basically. So the goals for each side, you're playing as a scavenger now or a Solari. Versus the survivors, which are basically Lara's friends and Lara's colleagues that have been stranded on the island. Their goal is to bring the medpack back, as I was saying earlier. Your goal as a scavenger is to eliminate them. And how do you eliminate them? Basically, once you've downed them with your weapon, whether it's a bow or machine gun, they'll be down, but they won't be dead. And your goal is to get up and close and personal, and finish them off. With a nice little swift melee move, and then you get a point. So that's how you score points as a scavenger. The enemy scores points by bringing medpacks back to the zone. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of different paths you can take. You can use zip lines, and as a scavenger, you have access to something called an ascender, which basically, once you're on a zip line, if you hit X, you'll zip back up the opposite direction, so you can go up and down as a scavenger. Because you've had a chance to, technically on the story, you've been on the island for a while, so you've had a chance to develop tools. The survivors are just basically, they landed there and they're trying to get used to their environments to be able to last longer and wait for rescue to come by. So it's one of our asymmetric multiplayer modes that we have. We have obviously the standard team deathmatch, also that will allow players to just get in there and rack up points and kill each other, I guess. There's also bunch of traps set out in the level, and that's what we kind of want. We want the player to wander around the level, explore, figure out certain areas that could be suspicious, set up traps. There you go. So that was your finisher move. You got the point. There's everything from spike traps that you basically set, and as soon as a person crosses a rope that's set on the floor, spikes basically take you off. There's snare traps, basically, they tie you up and you're cut up in a rope for a little while. You can let yourself out, but basically you're vulnerable a little bit until, especially if an enemy is nearby, you're easier to take off. Explosive barrels, obviously every other game has them, but they're very satisfying when you got 3-4 people next to them trying to bring a flag back or the medpack back. So he just got a point, there you go. Shotgun, stay away at close range. Every map is unique. We want the map to feel like it is threatening to the player on both sides. Obviously, depending on how you play, if you take advantage of, for example, jump up there, yeah, and you will find a lever to your left, right there, pull it, and then every map has a slight little twist to it, which kind of changes the balance a little bit. This one gives you a snowstorm that basically lets you see your friends or your enemies, but the other side doesn't see anything. Yeah. So if you know how to balance that advantage a little bit, you can tip the balance on the last kill or the last medpack you need to bring back. So the levels are definitely areas that you might have encountered in single player. They're not one for one. We've definitely built them exclusively for multiplayer. But they're areas that we want to feel like they can be small game changers. You could be in the lead, and the player pulls a lever, the wind comes up, and all of a sudden you're lost for a couple of kills and they catch up. We really wanted the environment to be an element of surprise, and also, again, encourage the player to explore to find what that element is. Each one of them is different, so it's not all levers with winds, obviously, like the one you just saw. But they all have something that could be to your advantage or disadvantage, depending on who initiates that game changer, I guess. I mean, basically the abilities are per side. We've wanted to make sure that each side, so the survivors and the scavengers, each have their own set of weapons. They each follow a specific upgrade path. So as a scavenger, you might be able to upgrade weapons a certain way, and as a survivor, you might upgrade your weapons another way. But at the end of the day, they're balanced enough so that there isn't a huge difference. But depending on the kind of game player you are, you'll follow a path. It's more than per character. We want to make sure that the player has a chance to experience a more personal approach by playing a character they might like, but not necessarily be punished by having a specific set of weapons for that character. But they're characters that you would have seen in the single-player campaign, characters that were stranded on the island with Lara, at least in terms of the survivors. On the scavenger side, they are the people that are on the island that are basically, settled themselves there and have made their island their home. So their tools are a little bit more. They have an ascender, which basically allows them to zip upwards on a zip line versus survivors that'll zip downwards. Obviously, they've had a chance to spend some time on the island, so some of their tools used properly could be to an advantage to them, but playing as a survivor, you can use them as well. That's the kind of vibe that you want to give off. You want to give the idea that it's a threat, but it could be a threat for the scavengers as well, because even though they've been there for a while, they've survivors caught up and they can learn the same advantages that the scavengers might have had. A lot of traversal. You can see there's a whole bunch of walls you can climb on the side. Both sides can do that. Yeah, there's side passageways inside. Watch out. I don't know if there's a spike trap set up here for you. No, but if you want to see one, there's one right there in that hallway. There's a med pack. You want to make sure that you do not cross a line while the trap is set. You see the blood splatters on the side. That's where the trap would be, but it's not initiated. But if you wanted to initiate it and just have a little bit of a laugh, at least for your enemy, that's the trigger is right to your left, right there. You'd have to drop, yeah, exactly. And then you'll see a rope kind of pull up on the floor. Whoever passes through it first will have a nice little kill. Depending, obviously you get XP. You get XP for accomplishing your objective, basically by either getting the med pack or by killing your enemy. But you also get XP for doing melees. Using, when you revive your partners, you'll get XP, and basically you can use that XP to upgrade your weapons and buy new weapons as well. You automatically, with the progression that you do, the more you participate, the more you use the environment, the more you will grow in level. So there's up to 60 levels, which allows you to have access to characters, but also you collect what we call salvage, which is the game's currency. And with that, it allows you to upgrade the weapons. So let's say you're a bow guy, you'll be able to collect some salvage and upgrade your bow. There's 2 or 3 types of bows for the scavengers. Survivors have access to the bow as well. They can upgrade it as well. And leveling up in characters as well gives you access to Lara and a whole bunch of other characters you might have seen in the single player. So obviously, the more you play, the more you use new techniques, the more salvage. Yeah, watch out. Oh. Someone must have gotten hit. Yeah. Yeah, we have a couple of our programmers on the team that have become aces with the bow. I mean aces, as in you'll never see them. And it is so frustrating and especially, we play hours and hours of this game, but we still get so frustrated sometimes because they get really good. So I guess one of the I'm horrible with the bow. We had Zachary Levi from Chuck over, who did the Final Hours episode that aired yesterday. And I'm horrible with the bow, and he had the machine gun. And obviously, we worked on the game, and it was his first time playing the game. He completely dominated me, and this is true. This is absolutely true. And in the episode, I'm like trying to pull it off like we scripted that, but it's not. So I've never been much of a sniper person, but if someone decides to take that route, then they can get very advantageous because the bow is lethal. You can get one-hit kills if you aim right. It's very satisfactory. We still get hours of gameplay time, and some people are just so good that you never see them kill you, and then there's a level of frustration that starts building. And I guess that's one of the perks of working on a multiplayer game is that you can walk into a gameplay session and people are just swearing. And but right after that session, we'll sit back and talk about strategy and what that person did and how much. How much he changed the game and how that one kill changed the whole momentum of a match. And it happens very frequently, especially with the kind of asymmetrical objectives that we have for sides. Like you could be, right now you've got two med packs to bring back and they've got 11, but in the span of, let's say, 5 minutes, they can get another 4 kills and the game is up in the air again. So there's been a lot of close calls with games that we've had with the team, where we thought, oh, that's it, we're done. Even all the way back to bringing the med pack, and it fell right by the ring where you're supposed to drop it, and you still lost the game. So, yeah, I think the funnest part about the there you go. Yeah. Hopefully next time it's someone on the opposite team that gets it. But there's a whole bunch of little things like that, and every map has, depending on the layout, has a certain amount of them. Some of them have more environmental centric stuff. We have a map with lightning rods, and they basically, you can set up lightning traps for the player, and every time he gets close to one, he'll get buzzed by lightning because there's a storm going on. Yep, there you go. See that? So Tomb Raider comes out March 5th. We hope that you guys enjoy it. It's been fun doing it. We have still hours and hours of fun playing it at the office, so hopefully we'll hear some funny stories on the web of what one person, there you go, he's stuck on a trap. March 5th, go grab it.
Need cover!
Players struggle in a multiplayer?